that jump from where you are now to where you want to be is never going to be comfortable. It's always going to force you out of your comfort zone. And I think a lot of people try to smoothly move up to the next level where it's like people who get into real estate like, well, I don't want to leave my job, so I'm going to try to do real estate part-time. And the whole reason why they do that is they're trying to avoid the pain that comes from the uncertainty of just not having that job and trying to figure it out, right? At some point, you're going to have to do that.
Welcome to the Raquel Show. This show is for entrepreneurs who want to play bigger in business and in life. And as many of you all know, I love bringing on people who actually play bigger. And today I have a very special guest that I was actually introduced to. And when you get introduced to somebody, you better believe that they will stalk you on social. And let me tell you, this guy's social is on fire. It's no wonder he is going viral these days, and his work ethic is totally off the freaking charts. So I'm excited to have this conversation around leveraging social media to actually generate leads, how to position yourself, and what he's actually figured out in the business in a short period of time. Welcome to the show, Conor Kelly.
Appreciate you, Raquel. I appreciate the intro too.
I want to dive right into it because I have so much to unpack with you. And there's probably one thing that I know about you is I've never seen anyone grow as fast as you have, and your social is absolutely going viral. You've picked a very unique niche, and I'm curious for the audience that don't know you, how did that all start and what is your niche today?
So my niche or niche, whatever you like to say, I say niche, but
By
I
the
guess
way, he's
my
Canadian people.
Yeah, that's right. I guess it's speaking Punjabi, but obviously I'm a white guy. So it's instant pattern disrupt. It's instant shock value, like what the hell is going on kind of thing. And how did it come about? Well, I bought a house. At the time, I wasn't really selling very many homes because the market was really crap in Vancouver. Like basically the last two falls in 2022 and 2023, the market literally just dies because everything is so expensive here. Our local incomes are very low. Nobody has any money. So 2023 was pretty rough, the back end of 2023, but I bought a home because I knew things were going to bounce back, had a very high mortgage payment, and I basically needed to throw a Hail Mary. I'm like, I need to do something to scrounge up some new business and whatever. And I always had that idea because I could speak a little bit of Punjabi from when I was younger, playing on a Punjabi soccer team and stuff like that. And every time I spoke it, people would be like completely shocked that I knew how to say a few things here and there, right? So I knew it was already viral content. So I was just like having the balls to actually do it because I knew there was like a 50% chance that could go really bad. But I'm like, I got to make this happen. So I did it anyways. That first video went really viral. And then the way social media works is whenever you're going viral with something, you keep your finger on the pulse. You don't take it off. You just keep on doing the same thing, but a little bit different.
Were you nervous at all to actually speak Punjabi or get some backlash maybe from the community? And what was your mindset around that? And how did you push through?
Yeah, I would say I was nervous that, yeah, like I said, there's a 50% chance it could have went completely the other way.
Yeah.
I would have been like the most hated dude in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what?
Especially in the neighborhood that you're in.
Exactly. But I don't know. We went for the long ball. We threw a Hail Mary and it landed.
Yeah. I think everyone tries to attempt social media, especially now where there's even more classes than when we were talking about it, I think with our clients in 2019, 2020. But you've actually gotten leads from social media today.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through the process because I love letting the audience know how we get super tactical. And I know that you're a process-driven individual.
Yeah. So for a long time, literally, I just had my phone number there and people would call me, and my processes were actually terrible for a long time. I had a hard copy piece of paper that I would write down all my leads on, and then I would like thumbtack that to the board, and then I knew who to follow up with. Now I have a CRM. Everybody gets tagged. Everybody's part of a newsletter. So basically, people reach out. I say, hey, yeah, you want the information on this? What's your email? Boom, goes into the CRM, tagged. And then, if it's like a detached home buyer, they go in the detached section. Any new detached homes gets blasted out to that list. Any pre-sales gets blasted out to that list. But for a long time, and I sold a lot of homes, like literally just with like my phone number in my bio, right?
Yeah. And who does that for you? And what CRM do you use for those that are wondering?
Yeah, I do all that myself, and I just use Go High Level. It's super simple.
Yeah, I love Go High Level.
Mhm.
And if you were to start all over, what would
If I were
be
to, s-
three things that you would do today to generate social media leads?
I would have done property tours right off the bat. I always did them, but I didn't do them consistently. I was doing a lot more value style content. Well, this is how the economy works. This is how you invest. This is how you blah, blah, blah. And the problem with that is you just attract a lot of buyers who are like the people who like to consume that content are obviously very analytical, right? So
Mhm.
that's the type of clients you get. It's like very analytical resale buyers who want the numbers on blah, 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 and this, that, and the other, and take a long time to come to a decision, which isn't even like who I am, right? Which is fine if those are the clients, but that's not who I am. I'm just like, this is what it is. Okay, done. Buy it. I'm on to something
Yeah.
else now. So I wanted more people like that. And that's the people that if you do property tours, you'll attract more people like that, right? Who just appreciate the entertainment side of what you're doing. And the thing about it is you don't need to know anything, right? Like I understood the value side. Most people don't, but I have thousands of hours invested in reading books and listening to podcasts and watching all these videos, blah, blah, blah. Most agents don't. So if you're a new agent, you just go out, shoot a property tour every single day. After 3 months, your business will be rolling. And I've tested this with many agents. Every agent who has followed it down to a T has seen massive success within their first 3 to 6 months doing this, more leads than they know what to do with, a database that's growing, etc. So that's number one. I would have shot property tour videos right off the bat. Number two, I would have actually built that database in the CRM, organized it a lot better. And then now I'd probably have thousands of people in there where I could just send out an email and sell homes. So I wish I did that from day one. And then three, I wish I started YouTube right away. YouTube hasn't made me a lot of money, but YouTube helps build skills that you're going to need later on in business, right? Like YouTube, you need such a diverse set of skills to actually consistently put out videos. And through the skills that I've learned, like doing YouTube, I've learned how to build lead captures and attach the lead captures to all my content with links. And then I've learned how to shoot the videos for my course and then direct traffic organically to the course, again, with lead captures and the newsletter. All this stuff comes from like having to shoot videos on YouTube for the most part, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so great. And I think there's a lot of people doing property tours out there, but yours are very different. And like you said, you've got a lot of pattern interrupt. I just watched a few and in the middle of your tours, you're dancing, right? Is that on purpose? And is there like a flow that you do so that it's not boring? Because sometimes you'll see these just listed and they do it the same thing. It's totally templated. Property tours. I watch a lot of agents and they're doing the same thing over and over. You almost get bored after a while.
Yeah. I always just try to, I don't know. I was the class clown in high school. I've always had a knack
I
for,
couldn't tell.
yeah, I've always had a knack for getting people's attention. Like I just know what to do to make people like look at me for 5 seconds. So that's just, I don't know, it got me in a lot of trouble being younger, but now it's almost like a God-given talent that I just
Ah,
know what to do to capture somebody's attention. But the thing with property tours, yes, there's a lot of people doing them. But the thing is, everybody's going to give up and stop doing them, right? So like people are like, oh, it's so saturated. The property tour thing is so saturated. It's saturated. But at the end of the day, how many people shoot them every single day, right? There's probably like 20 agents in all of Canada, right? If you're going to cold call somebody, how many agents have cold called that person, right? They
yeah.
probably get like 50,000 cold calls a year. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So when I think about property tour videos, like it's even like when I first started the videos like 2.5 years ago, there was
Mhm.
a lot of agents who I used to collab with and shoot videos with who were like, people used to tie my brand to them and been like, oh yeah, those are those two realtors and those are those three realtors that shoot those videos, blah, blah. And all of those people, every single one of them from when I started have now fallen off and they shoot like one video a week, right? So something that I've learned is like nothing's saturated because everybody's going to give up. Every single person's going to give up. Give it 6 months, right?
Consistency always wins. And
Yeah.
how do you actually stay consistent? Like on days that you don't feel like shooting content, you don't feel like going to a property tour, or you feel sick. Do you batch the content ahead of time so that like you're releasing one every single day?
Yeah, so the property tours, I don't actually shoot every single day. That would be my recommendation to new agents because I do a mix of some content about self-development and then I do some investment and then I do some property tour, but I always post every single day and I never miss on that. But the reason how I would do it if I were to shoot a property tour video every single day is you can literally repost the same exact property and just reshoot the intro. So you already have the old property tour in your phone and you need a video. Step outside and change the intro from for $350,000, you can get this in Calgary to for only $22,500 deposit, you can get this in Calgary. And then just literally repost the same video with a different intro if you have to, right?
I love the repurpose method.
100%.
Now, when it comes to your content creator, and there's very few people that I would say that can run a business and especially in real estate and create really good content. Where does your ideation come from? Like your
My
ideas?
ideation.
Yeah. So like, where do your ideas come from to shoot some of the very viral videos that you have? Is it like, hey, you watch a commercial or you see something online, you're like, I'm going to put my own spin to something like that? Or does it just all come from your head?
A lot of it just comes from my head.
Okay.
I guess I take inspiration from like movies and videos, other people's content that I've watched. But if you ask me like where exactly did I get that, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But it's little bits and pieces from things that I've watched over my life. A lot of my content ideas come when I'm going for a walk. Like whenever I go for a walk, I just seem to have the best ideas. So that's something that I try to do like a couple times a week, just go for an hour-long walk. And then that's when I seem to come up with all my ideas. So
I always say that my best business ideas come from when I'm doing cardio at the gym.
100%.
Because that's when your ideas are like, you don't have distractions. And sometimes you're even watching on social media. You're like, oh, that's a really good video, or that's a really good edit. So what are the top 3 videos that you've done that have generated the most leads?
That have generated the most leads. It's always been pre-sale. Pre-sale is the best. Like I just did one last week that was for a pre-sale in Abbotsford. And then when I went back through my CRM and I checked that tag, I have 154 leads just from that one video that I shot. That took me like maybe 15 minutes to shoot. Property tour video, and Facebook ads are like $8 to $12 per lead, is I think it's like the industry average. So that's $1,500 worth of leads from that one video. But even like a lot of the times too, if I can't go out and actually shoot a property tour video, I'll just green screen the renderings behind me and talk about the project like that. And those videos do really well too.
Yeah. Now, do you run a team today? Or you
Yes.
guys combine forces, or how many people are on your team?
20.
And are you responsible for the marketing, and do you just hand off the leads to your team? Like, how does this work?
Everybody still gets their own leads. We're just there for the mentorship. We help them close their leads. We go to the listing appointments, the buyer appointments. We provide the training, the financial support, videographer, et cetera, et cetera.
Love it. Where do you see agents failing today when it comes to social media?
Okay, so my honest opinion on social media is obviously number one, it's consistency, but it goes deeper than that because the reason why people aren't consistent is because they haven't worked on themselves enough, right? So I'm successful on social media and like quite literally has nothing to do with what I've done on social media, right? Like I hear people all the time talking about like hashtags and what time of day should I post? And like literally none of that matters if you don't fix you, right? Like people watch the content because of the person shooting the content.
Right.
That's the reality, right? So if you want better content, just make the person who's shooting it better. Go to the gym, eat better, educate yourself, et cetera, et cetera. Focus on you, and then the content will just naturally get better. So when agents come up to me and they're like, oh, yo, what should I do? What's a piece of advice for me starting out? And I'm like, yeah, quit drinking, stop smoking, stop eating like crap, and you will see your business become a lot easier right off the bat, just like that. Right?
Yeah. I always tell my kids hard work beats talent when talent doesn't want to work, right? So I do believe, and like I said in the intro, is that like your work ethic is off the charts. And that's what I think, like you said, your inner work is so much more important, and your inner mental game is so much more important in any business, including real estate.
100%. 100%.
Do you shoot with your iPhone, or do you have a special camera when you do these tours?
Bit of both. Listings, I have a videographer. Any project that I just want to go shoot, I just do with my phone.
Okay. So no 360, no like gimbal or anything like that?
I have a gimbal. Yeah, it's
Okay.
a DJI Osmo 6. It's like $180. Yeah.
Awesome. And then your favorite apps and tools?
I use CapCut
Mhm.
for the property tours, and then it's called Filmora for anything that I want to edit for YouTube, or sometimes if I need to edit a short form video a little bit more in depth, I will edit it in Filmora on my desktop as opposed to CapCut on my phone. But that's about it. That's pretty much all I use is those two apps.
Super lean. Now you talked about a videographer for your listings. Who else do you have on your team when it comes to like production or your content right now? And now you're on YouTube and you've got a course, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, I have an admin, I have the videographer, I have an ad agency. That's for the course. I think that's it.
Okay, so let's talk about the course. Why the course? And what is the course for those that may be interested, because you've just spit a bunch of fire in such a short period of time, right? Now you know why I love like action takers like Conor Kelly, because it's like you could just jam out really fast and get so much done.
I love it. Why the course? Yeah, there's a lot of reasons why the course. Obviously, I don't want to sell real estate forever.
Mhm.
The education space is massive and only getting bigger. And I feel like it's a lot easier to leverage time via like packaging a problem you've already solved and selling it to somebody who currently has that problem than
Mhm.
it is to just continuously serving clients to $5 million a year, whatever it is, right? I'm going to work myself into the ground. I'm going to work 20 hours a day. I'm going to have carrying a lot of stress and emotional, other people's emotions and stuff like that. Or I could just get to seven figures, package everything that I've learned and getting to seven figures and then scale that to $10 million or whatever. Not that I'm going to make that much money. I'm just saying that's the
Right.
ideology, is like the addressable market for people who want to learn and solve the problems that I've already solved is much bigger than the amount of people I can sell real estate to. So I think courses is just the way to go. And I know there's like a narrative out there that like, oh, coaches are scammers and blah, 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 and this and that. And it's, dude, you're paying $200 to learn everything I've learned to make $1 million. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, where are you getting scammed? It's a
Right.
great deal.
And if
So
it doesn't work, most likely it's you, the problem, because you didn't decide to actually open the course and do
exactly.
anything with it.
Exactly. You have to implement it. And I think the other thing too, though, is it's also not, the course is just one thing to set you on the right path and give you like some type of trajectory within your business. But you also should be in a space where you have mentors around you to help you implement that information, because you can learn the information, but you don't get any nuance. It's
Yeah.
not personalized to you. Right. So it's also important to have a mentor that can help you implement that information. Right. I think.
100%. I always say, and I have several coaches and mentors today that I pay for and I think you have to pay to play sometimes, is
Mhm.
you actually pay for implementation, nothing else. When it comes to like high level coaching, is because your business and the strategy, the course is one thing, but how and your personality may be completely different than what Conor Kelly, his strategy is in his market speaking Punjabi. So like me going into Scottsdale speaking Tagalog or like Spanish or Chinese might not necessarily pop off because of demographics. So it's like it all is relative. What's something that you wish you would have known sooner when you started this? Because I just found out that you've only been doing this for a couple of months, and you would have thought that you've been doing this for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I wish somebody taught me how to use a CRM. I didn't have anybody around me how to like, and then the CRM I had was crap when I first started. When I found Go High Level, I was like, yo, this is so easy. I was like, why wasn't I doing this the whole time? But the
Yeah.
last CRM I had was like Windows 96. So it was just like trash, right? So I
Windows
wish
96. I
yeah,
love
that's what it looked like, right?
it.
Yeah, definitely from day one, I really wish that I was using the CRM right off the bat.
Yeah. And you've picked a really good one. We just actually discovered that. And I just love how all the integration and all the things that you could do with it. Next question for you is platforms. Let's talk about platforms, because I think a lot of
Mhm.
agents get stuck on like, okay, Conor, this is great stuff, but how do I even get started? Which platform? People tell me I should be on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, right? Where should people start?
I think it's going to be, again, very personal to who you are.
Mhm.
I'll tell you why I chose TikTok. At the time, the reach on TikTok was really good. It's still really good. It's still better than Instagram. It's not nowhere near as good as what it was, but you can go post on TikTok and you can get tens of thousands of views with 0 followers, which is very difficult to do on Instagram. Instagram takes a long time to get rolling.
Yeah.
Like I only have 5,000 followers on Instagram after 2.5 years, whereas I already have 30 something thousand on TikTok, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is everybody's so worried about what their friends think. If you just go on TikTok on a new account and start posting, then none of your friends are going to see it, right? So now
Yeah.
you don't have that excuse to not post anymore, right? Like just go
Yeah.
on TikTok. And then also Twitter is apparently really good too. And I think Twitter, kind of like YouTube, where YouTube teaches you all these skills and it
Mhm.
makes you a more like well-rounded entrepreneur. I think Twitter does the same thing. And I think I should have maybe started Twitter from day one. And the reason why is because the basis of all of your content is writing. Every piece of content you put out is typically going to be written somewhere. YouTube videos, reels, whatever you shoot is typically written, right? So instead of just writing it and then shooting it on YouTube, you could write it, break it down into 10 tweets, and then just make that entire script public,
Yeah.
right? And then that forces you to become a better copywriter, and then you can build a following on there and blah, blah, blah. So even for the people that are like, oh, I'm not a short form, this and that, I'm not as outgoing, I don't have the charisma, fine, just write on Twitter, right? And then later on, you could take the scripts that you post on Twitter and then make it a YouTube video, because you don't really need to be outgoing on YouTube. Like you just need to have a good title and a good thumbnail, and then
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then the actual content in the video should be educational, right? But people aren't coming there expecting you to be outrageously outgoing or anything like that, right? So if you're afraid to post on TikTok and Instagram and blah, 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 just write on Twitter and then repurpose that and use it as a script for long form YouTube, maybe, right?
Who would ever thought that when you got your real estate license, that journalism, writing, marketing, video, how you communicate and articulate things was going to be a much needed skill, right? Especially with all these social platforms.
No kidding. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. And
It's
then
huge,
even to add to that, you can also repost those tweets on Instagram too.
right?
Like I didn't even mention that as like carousels and everything. So even just writing one tweet could be repurposed for every single platform.
Yeah. Yeah. Any AI tools, speaking of, some people will use Chat GPT, any AI tools that you leverage? Maybe it doesn't have to be that they're writing the whole thing, but any things that you're using that you could share with the audience?
I just use Chat GPT to rewrite my newsletters into more like proper grammar.
Okay.
Uh, that's about it. And then I might use like, I think it's called Dolly to do YouTube thumbnails, but
Is
that's
that
it.
DOLY, DOLI?
I think it's DALLE.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you were to absolutely boil it down, what do you think makes agents successful in today's market with all the different things that are going on? Because you have a team and you probably can tell within a couple of months whether this agent's probably going to make it just based on actions.
Yeah. The agents that I know that are successful are fully 110% committed to selling real estate. And what I mean by that is they're not messing around in their free time doing like drinking or playing video games or smoking or what. Like they sell real estate. That's what they do every day. That's it. It's the only thing they do. So all the agents I know that are successful right now, they don't do any of that stuff. They wake up, they go down to their computer, and then they work and they sell real estate.
Yeah. And you have been successful in a very short period of time. You also made a big move to Real Broker. And I know that we weren't probably the only broker that like wanted to align with Connor. So why the change?
To specifically Real Broker,
Or just a change in brokerages?
I think obviously the opportunity at Real Broker is the sky's the limit. It's going to allow me to live the life I want to live, which is like least amount of time invested, highest leverage opportunity. But also what I'm seeing a lot right now in the industry is brokerages are changing fundamental aspects of their business to try and compete with Real. Whereas Real is not even focused on what everybody else is doing. Real
Yeah.
is becoming a bank now. They're making a wallet. They're thinking like completely outside of real estate already. That's basically what Starbucks did, right? As they became a bank. They're like, hey, put $200 on a Starbucks card and we'll give you such and such points. And they take your money and invest it. Real's getting into that space now. Whereas I look at all these other companies and they're like, oh, maybe we should cut the cap and maybe we should do this co-sponsorship program and maybe we should do this and blah, blah, blah. And everybody's trying to change what they're doing to compete with Real. And Real's like, we don't even care what you're doing. We're over here doing this already, right? You're trying to compete with the last 7 things we did. We're already on to this, right?
Yeah.
So that's basically when I look at the leadership and stuff like that, I really trust what the guys at the top are doing here. I like what they have to say. And ultimately, it's just, if I was going to invest in a small cap stock, I would want to see that they're very forward thinking and they're not reactive to what's happening in the marketplace. That's the basis of my decision here is I saw that they're very proactive and not reactive, right?
Yeah. And you were actually selling real estate, like you said, deep into it, what the trait that most successful agents do. If you were giving advice to agents that are listening on this podcast or watching this on YouTube, when it comes to growth and change, because I know a lot of people are very nervous to actually make the move, especially when they've got business, what advice would you give to them?
You got to do it. Like, like
Typical high D. Like,
yeah,
just do
you got to
it.
do it. I fought it for a year and a half. For a year and a half,
That's
I
what I'm
wanted to
saying.
leave. And then,
Yeah.
but I didn't want to because I was like really good buddies with the owner of my last brokerage. And I felt like I would be backstabbing and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, it just kept calling my name. I'm like, I know this is the place that I need to go. I know I need to do this. And if you have that feeling, that's what you feel like you need to do. That feeling only gets worse. And the opportunity only lessens the longer you wait. So just rip the Band-Aid off and get it done, man.
Yeah. Everything will work itself out.
Yeah.
Your energy is absolutely captivating. And I would love to know what's next for Conor Kelly. What are you most excited about that you're working on?
I'm excited about the course. We just got a new office. I'm excited about being at Real Broker. I want to get 100K followers on IG. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I can only run with the Punjabi thing for so long, but I'll find something else. I don't know. I got trials and tribulations. I'll find something else soon, but I want to get to 100K. I want to grow my YouTube out. I have another YouTube channel that's just for helping realtors. I want to get that some traction. Yeah, I'm excited about a lot of things right now. Everything's good. So big
Where
things
do
in
you
the works.
find the time for all of this? What does your schedule look like? I actually saw a video on YouTube with like your schedule, and I'd love to share it with the audience. You've got a lot of things on your plate. How do you find all the time? How do you balance it all?
Yeah, I'm up at 4 a.m. and then I'm done at the gym by 5:40-ish. And then I come back. I usually script, shoot a YouTube video. I might post a TikTok right away, edit a video. I'm sending listings to my clients. I'm looking at my own listings. I'm doing paperwork, going through my CRM, doing all that stuff. And then usually all of that stuff is done by about 9. And then from 9 till the rest of the day, it's just like going on appointments and shooting those property tour videos, going to listings, doing showings, doing all that stuff. But all of the content, everything that you guys see online for the most part is done between 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. And then with the odd property tour. And then sometimes I'll shoot like another TikTok video right before bed.
I love it. Love it. I love all the batching and the shooting content, right? Because a lot of people get distracted with consuming content and actually not creating content. So I love how you're so dialed in with all of that. And as we wrap up, there's always one question that I ask every guest on the show is what does Conor Kelly do to actually play bigger in business or in life?
I think something that I've stumbled across lately that I've done to play bigger, and this is not financial advice, do whatever you want, right? But
I love the disclosure.
yeah, this is what I have found has worked for me is taking on a new expense that forces me to then figure it out, right? I know that I'm capable of competing with anybody up there at the highest level. They're not better than me. They're just ahead of me. That's the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if that's the case, if I take on this big expense, this guy's has his expenses $100,000 a month. Like I can take on 5,000. I'll figure it out somehow. And I've just learned that there, like in business, as you grow, it's only going to get more risky. It's only going to get more expensive. The expenses are only going to get bigger and blah, 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 blah. And that jump from where you are now to where you want to be is never going to be comfortable. It's always going to force you out of your comfort zone. And I think a lot of people try to smoothly move up to the next level where it's like people who get into real estate, like, well, I don't want to leave my job, so I'm going to try to do real estate part-time. And the whole reason why they do that is they're trying to avoid the pain that comes from the uncertainty of just not having that job and trying to figure it out, right? At some point, you're going to have to do that. So I've just learned that if I want to move up to the next level and that's the cost, okay, that's the cost. Let's pay it and figure it out later, right?
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. And I do see that even when people are making that first 7 figures or their multiple 7 figures, I think Alex Hormozy said, if you are going to make $1 million, you got to be prepared to lose even 100,000. If you want to make 10, be prepared to lose 1 million. And some people can't stomach that, right? And I just think it's 100%. An expansion of your financial thermostat. When you can actually create expenses that put pressure on you and the business, guess what? The revenue usually will put and go up.
100%.
So where can people connect with you? You dropped so many bombs, so many nuggets today. Where can people connect? And hopefully we can help that 100,000 on Instagram.
Yeah, please. Everybody can go follow me at That Agent Kelly. So that's That Agent Kelly. That's me on every single platform. So give me a follow, shoot me a DM.
Love it. Love it. I want to say thank you so much for being on our show today. I appreciate your time and I cannot wait to keep supporting you in all the things that you do in playing bigger. Conor Kelly.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to working together and doing big things. So
amazing. Have a good one.
You too.